Hi there, welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today we'll be walking you through your 2022 Keystone Hideout 178Rb. We're just going to start off the back of the unit. If you notice up top, you are pre-mounted for an observation camera. If you'd like to get set up with that, you can just contact the price for it. They'd be more than happy to help you out. Also, at the back here is just going to be that spare tire. And then coming around to almost the driver's side, you got your coax inlet for your cam satellite stuff you're hooking up. And then right down below on the bumper tube, pulling on the cap. It's going to open that up. It's going to be where you're going to want to store your sewer hose after your first use. We do have a brand new one located inside the front compartment, but after your first use, you will want to store it in here. Just keeps as much smell out of the unit as possible. And then in this corner, as well as all four corners of the unit, you do have stabilizer jacks. The way they work are you're hooking up your 3/4 inch drive tool with 3/4 inch drive nut, running this foot down to the ground. Once the foot does contact the ground, just giving another 1/8 turn. It's going to take you bounce or sway. You see we have the unit right now away. Just an extra note with them, they are stabilizing jacks, they aren't leveling jacks. Please don't try and use them as so, otherwise you do run the risk of bending them. And same goes for if you are running them up or down with an impact, just keep in mind how much torque you put on them. If we come up a little further ahead, you're going to have your main sewer outlet. Take this cap off, it's going to be the same ears your sewer hose has. Then you got your gray valve and your black valve. You always want to empty your black valve first, your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. Then you can come behind that with your gray valve, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. Then you got your 2 low point drains right there at the back, so if you don't leave in the unit for a while, don't want water to stay or stagnant, you can open up those guys and allow all the fluid, most of the fluid out of the lines. And then whenever you're done your winterization process, if you were to do it yourself, it's always a good idea to just crack them open and leave them open for the duration of winter. You got your 30 amp cord here. It is about 15 to 20 feet long when it's fully extended. Most campsites should have this and you can plug right on in, but let's say you have the unit at home or your campsite only has 15 amp service, which is your standard household outlet. We do include that park adapter, which keep in mind whenever you are using it, it's really just to run your fridge and your lights. You're not going to be running with an air conditioner off of that. You got your city water connection, so if you're at a site with service, you can thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all those lines without the need to run your water pump. And then you got your furnace exhaust, so whenever your furnace is running, this will be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. These 2 ports here are just service ports for your refrigerator. No need to worry about any of that. And then in this first side of the compartment, that is where you're going to find that 15 amp park adapter, which I've already told you about. It also is where you're going to find your little starter kit. And comes included in there, you got your basic 10-foot sewer hose, a 15-foot water hose, and some other miscellaneous goodies. Around the front of the unit, you get your battery box, and that's going to be where your battery is located. And then typically you're going to have this cover over top of the propane tank, but I just removed it just for the ease of the video. Like any standard barbecue, counterclockwise, opening up the flow, opens up the flow of propane to the unit. We've got tongue jack, one ways up, the other ways down. That's just going to be the other side of your storage compartment. You got your main entryway door, which I'll go over in a few minutes. And then you do get your fresh water inlet, so if you're out boondocking or your site doesn't have water, you can siphon or fill that up with a garden hose, and that's what the water pump is going to draw off of, and then right down below. You're going to have this valve here, and that's going to be how you drain your fresh tank. All the water is going to drain out through there. And then last but not least, for the outside, you get your service port for your water heater. Whenever you first get to your campsite, you want to give that pressure relief valve a pull and give that, you want to see that shot of water coming out of there, letting you know that your tank's full. We currently have the tank drained ready for you to pick up because we're not sure when you're going to be using it next. We've got an 1.1/8" drain bolt right down there to the bottom, so if you wanted to drain that tank, that's going to be how you do so. So now to get inside, you're just taking that assist handle, pushing it up, holding it 90 degrees. It is going to lock into place. That'll allow you to open up your door. At that point, you can pull on this, fold the stairs down. The door does have to be all the way open for your stairs to fold out. You got adjustable feet, so you can have nice and level stairs at your campsite. Just having to push in on the tabs and adjust it from corresponding slots. Folding that guy down. Taking a step on the side, first thing you notice up on the left is going to be that fire extinguisher, which is going to be just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. Up on the wall, you got your light switch for all your interior light switches, which is light 2. Light 1 is going to do your awning LED. Then, of course, you do have your awning control, pushing and holding the extend button. That's going to allow that awning to start making its way out. Once that awning does reach its full extension, you can see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. And whenever you're putting your awning out, always keep an eye on the wind speeds. You're not going to want the winds to be picking up too much. Once you see this thing start flopping around a little bit, it's a good idea to bring it in. That way you don't run the risk of ripping your fabric or bending your arms. There you go, you got the back of the little tube and that little flap. Now if we were to start bringing any arm front or rear, pulling it towards you, tighten up the little flap down at the bottom. Once that's tight, you're going to see that it didn't affect the pitch of the awning. The water can now run off. Now if you like that angle better, this is going to allow for more shade underneath. You can do the same thing with the front arm. Just making sure before you ever bring your awning back in, you do allow those awnings to go back to their full extension, so that when you bring it in, again, you're just not running the risk of bending anything. Now, if you had to go bring that awning in while it was wet, it's not the end of the world. Just try and make sure at your next earliest convenience, you run it back out to allow it time to cool, dry off, so you don't accelerate the growth of mold or mildew inside of there. Bringing it in as simple as pushing the retract button. Once the awning arms contact the side of the trailer, the motors are automatically cut out. Now once we're inside, you got your front bedroom space. If you pick up on the foot of the bed, gives you a little bit of extra storage space for any sort of blankets or anything else you want to put inside there. All the blinds do sit where you leave them. They all work the same way. Storage all around. There's tons of storage in this unit. Just of course being mindful of drains, water lines, and things like that. You got your emergency exits. You just pull on that red tab, the full screen's gonna pop out of the way. That'll allow you to take your handle, push it out, and pop on out of the unit. Into your main living space, in case you were to have some extra guests, this table does flip down into the bed. You just have to remove the feet from underneath the table, set the tabletop on its desired ledges. Then you can take your back cushions to go in the center. On the wall here, you're going to have your kind of water system. Pushing the battery, it's going to tell you your level. 12.3 is fully charged. And then you got your fresh, your black, and your gray, of course. Pushing the buttons, giving you your corresponding level. Water pump, turning that on, draws out of your fresh tank. And then you get your water heater switch. If you turn it on, this DSI fault light's going to first come on. The water heater's going to try lighting itself 3 times. If on the third try it didn't light, this DSI fault light would stay on. In which case you'd have to turn the switch off, wait about a minute, and then try turning it back on. This thermostat is going to be the control for your furnace. The furnace is going to move all its air right through that output there. And the furnace does run off propane, and since we have propane equipped inside this unit, you got your LP detector right there near the ground. If that guy does ever start going off, don't panic, just turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit and open up some windows and vents to ventilate things out a little bit. Hotter. Obviously, sliding it all the way to the right is going to be its hottest setting. Anywhere before that's a warmer setting, and then clicking it all the way to the left turns it off. And whenever you do turn it on, once you go to turn it off, it runs for an additional 3 minutes to allow itself time to cool down. Up on the wall here, you got your window style air conditioner. It's pretty much just like home. Power button to turn it on. You got your different modes here: auto, cool, dry, and fan. Cool is going to be cooling. Fan is just going to be moving air around with the air conditioner. Dry is a dehumidifying mode, so the air conditioner will try to take as much moisture out of the air as possible. You get a check filter sign coming up here. That's just letting you know that you got to check your intake filter, which is behind here. Got your fan setting. Whenever you're in high, medium, or low, the fan's going to run full time regardless of what you have the room set to. If you turn it to auto, it creates an on-demand system. So if you have the room set to 62, if you have the room set to 62, but the room's actually 65, once it reaches 62, it'll automatically kill this. If you don't have that auto on, it's going to run full time. Energy saver mode, that's just to try and save on energy. Power button to turn it all off. And right in front of me, you got your fridge. The controls are all right up top. Flipping the cover over. The power button to turn it on and off. With this button flush, you're on auto, so it's going to first search for shore power. Once shore power is taken away, they'll automatically switch over to gas. If you want to run solely on gas because you're out boondocking, you can just depress that button and then it'll automatically engage that seepage, just making sure you did purge the propane system before you try to fire up the fridge. We'll go over purging once we go to fire up the stove, which will be right away. And then before we get there, You got your main fuse and breaker panel right down here near the ground. If you ever have a breaker that trips, it'll sit in the middle, so you have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. All your corresponding fuses are going to be on the right. Up top, you got your microwave and your range hood, which is pretty much just like home. Not much I'm going to show you there. Of course, I always recommend running your range hood whenever you are running your stove. That way you're evacuating those propane fumes so they don't build up as bad in here. Now, when you go to fire up your stove, I always recommend firing up the stove first thing whenever you first get to your campsite, because once you turn off the propane at the front of the unit, that allows air into the system. Once air makes its way in, it does have to be purged out. The reason I'm telling you to do it through the stove is because you can run that gas for as long as it takes to start getting propane through. If you were to go fire up your water heater, your fridge, or your furnace, those will only try lighting themselves a couple times before they throw a fault code at you. And if you don't know what the fault code means, it can throw a little frustration in your weekend. Again, we do want to try to avoid that. Keep the good times rolling. So whenever you come to light your stove, you do have to have a barbecue lighter on hand. Mine takes a couple tries to get going. Once you get your barbecue lighter going, turn that over to the high option, hit the igniter, and it fires right on up. Now, of course, today it did fire up pretty quickly just because I had the system running earlier. Sometimes it can take a few minutes, so you just have to be patient with it. And of course, whenever you are running that gas on, always making sure you do have the lighter close by and lit already. That way you don't get a buildup of gas and a minor combustion. And if you have your face nearby, you're probably going to lose some eyebrows and eyelashes. Again, it's probably going to add some frustration to your weekend, so we do want to avoid that. So always being safe whenever you're trying to use this. Lighting the lighter first, then turning it over to the high option, and it lights right on up. Like I said, storage all around, just of course being mindful of drained water lines and things like that. Then last but not least, taking a step on into the bathroom, the light switch is on their own center push button, so you just have to push them to turn them on. Up top, you got this vent lid. It's great for if you're showering to evacuate some of the steam. If you open up that vent lid all the way, start traveling because you forgot it open, it could cause damage to the vent lid. And of course, if it's going to start raining, it's going to get wet inside of here. So we do sell covers that go over top of these guys. It's also going to protect you against hail, and then of course it's going to keep it nice and dry inside of here and allow you to leave that open while traveling. If you'd like to get set up with that, just contact your parts department and they'd be more than happy to put together a quote for you. Other than that, that is it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to